thought I'd give you a brief history for myself that I know was being made. The change was coming with Martin Luther King when I was still a young woman in the 60s in Washington County. First of all, when you got married back then, you lost your first name. I don't know, I see some women out there with gray hair. You were not known as Kelly Fulgis anymore. You were known as Mrs. Larry Lindo. And that seemed perfectly okay. But I always wondered what some of those women's names were because they didn't have them anymore. Secondly, if you were a young woman as I was, and you were putting your husband through college, and you were the one that was working, you could only get a credit card in your husband's name. So even though you were the one that was going to work every day, paying the rent, putting the food on the table, if you went to get credit, you didn't have it. You only had credit because of your husband. I was lucky because I always worked in the public sector. So it didn't matter if I was a woman teacher or a man teacher, I made the same amount of money. But we all know in the private sector, that isn't the case. And we're struggling and fighting to this day to make sure that there's equity for women in pay. And I certainly agree with that. But to bring it back to Dr. King, imagine if you were a woman and you were also a woman of color. Imagine if you were a woman and you were part of the LGBTQ community. Imagine you were a woman and you were poor. You take all those things into consideration, and we know that our struggles aren't over. And we know that we have not met the expectations that Martin Luther King had set for all of us. We also
are outside this building. And
everyone is welcome to our celebration, and I see signs up in front of me, and I agree with every single one of them. Well, I think that if we find out our police department is racially profiling, then I would say that anyone in the department that's doing that needs to be disciplined or fired.
All right.
Okay. But I do appreciate the fact that freedom is messy and it's loud, and sometimes it makes you frustrated and sad, but it's always the right thing to support and do. So thank you for coming here and expressing your opinions to us. Having said that, I'm not the main speaker, and I want to make sure that the two people that are here today that want to share their feelings and thoughts, their experiences with you, have time to do that. So again, thank you for being here, thank you for coming, and thank you for honoring Dr. King.
And we are just very excited to have our next speaker. He is an emerging community leader, and he is Cedric Johnson.
Thank you. It's definitely an honor to have been invited today. You know, this isn't entirely what I planned to say, but you know, obviously the civil rights movement is something that is not over and is something that is ongoing. And I think, as many of us know, many people of color